You're tuning in to the Beards and Gears Podcast, the ultimate show for relevant automotive and motorcycle culture, and of course, for the beard aficionados. Whether you're fastening your helmet or settling in for a comfortable listen, prepare for an exhilarating journey. Introducing your hosts, Riker Montgomery and Aaron Alexander.
Hey guys, Riker Montgomery here with the Beards and Gears podcast. To my right is Aaron Alexander. We are your hosts today, and we've got another really exciting guest on, Trevor Stringer. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you, man.
guys.
Driving
Absolutely.
an hour up here to see us. And
It's
be
like
with
35 minutes.
Okay, all right,
That's
good deal. Well, before we get into it, I always like to start with a little introduction of who we have on. So this is what I have for you, man. And I may be missing some things, but entrepreneur and owner of the Detail Lab.
Yep.
The GOAT for paint correction. The GOAT. Personal trainer.
Yep.
Bodybuilding competitor.
Yep.
Corvette enthusiast. And maybe most importantly, husband.
Yep.
So maybe missing some
Dog
things.
dad.
Dog dad. There you go.
No kids. No kids. Just dogs. Dogs and cars.
Dogs and cars. And that's how I feel, man. It's like dogs and cars. That's my life. Yeah.
Dogs are just as expensive as
That's
kids.
true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
100%.
the way we feed our dogs.
Yeah. You guys are on like a raw diet for
That's
your
all
dogs,
they
aren't
use
you?
raw.
Yeah. I remember talking to you about that one time. Yeah. That's expensive, dude. Well, let's just jump right into it, man. I want to hear, obviously the owner of the Detail Lab, you're very involved in the automotive community. We met many years ago over cars, CTSVs to be exact. How did you grow up? Was your passion for cars started at a young age, and was it a part of your childhood?
So I was trying to think about that because as early as I can remember, like I don't even know like where, if it was mom or dad or whatever, but like I remember like going to Hastings or like Barnes and Noble, and I always got the MotoGP magazines or F1 or a car magazine, and I would just sit there and flip through them.
I love it, dude. Yeah.
And then when I'd get home, you remember the light boxes, the tracing ones?
Yeah.
You could put the picture on and you trace over it?
Yeah.
All cars, all the time. So like, and then my dad was in real estate, so we always had like a nice Lexus. It was always like a Lexus or a Mercedes.
Yeah.
We'd always drive those, and I remember this one Lexus he had, and this is kind of like where the obsession started for like fast things was, it was a Lexus GS 350, and it had this overdrive button, but I called it the Batman button.
Yeah.
Because this is like during the 90s.
Yeah.
when Batman was real, like you hit the Batman button,
Right.
the flame shoots
Right.
out of the back. Well, it was just overdrive, so it just made it like into another gear or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd be sitting on his lap, I'm like, Batman button. And he'd hit it and he'd floor it. And I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. So on Saturdays and Sundays, we'd go to this place called, it was basically like all Corvettes and muscle cars. So we'd go there and window shop. And,
There's the Corvette seed being planted
that
really
was
young, dude.
Super young.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it started, but I don't know how. And
Your dad wasn't into cars. I mean, he obviously had nice cars, but he wasn't
he had nice cars like growing up. He always had like muscle cars and stuff.
Oh, he did?
Never
Okay.
like nothing crazy like I have now.
Yeah.
And where were you at? Like, where were you born and raised?
Lubbock, West Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, not a lot going on out there,
No,
dude.
it's all cotton.
And so were you into sports? Did you play football or did
Played
you
baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Gotcha.
played high school ball, college ball. Got to go throw. I was a pitcher, so I got to go throw for a scout, but I just didn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Plus, like, I'm kind of glad that whole like baseball thing didn't work
Yeah.
out. Like, I was good, but I didn't know like really how good I was because I cared more about like growing up. I still kind of do have a learning disability, so like school was extremely difficult.
Yeah,
for
same.
me. So like I got made fun of in like elementary school. You know, I was in special ed and going into junior high. Like I couldn't read, write, and do math until about 7th grade.
Okay.
So like going to school, I hated it.
Yeah.
But once I got into sports, that's where I excelled because all that hate and all the bullying and stuff, I could go put it out on the baseball field.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun against my classmates.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
bet.
cool, dude.
Yeah.
What did you drive in high school?
I had a Chevrolet Tahoe on like 35s with a system in it. Like I thought it was like that's when like systems were like the coolest thing in the world.
We're around the same age, so like
I'm 35.
I'm 32, so is Aaron. So 32. It's like we were in the same era, and like systems was like the
screens,
thing, dude.
flip up screens.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny, I didn't know that you drove a Tahoe in high school, but I drove a Suburban for a little bit in high school. A big 98 Suburban, just like massive thing, dude. I tried to get out of it as quickly as I could. That's I got a Mustang convertible and was driving that. But my brother, it was a hand-me-down to my brother. My brother put white walls on it, dude, in high school. Yeah. So anyway, that just made me think of that. So
like, was it the same for y'all? Like, the cool thing to do was like to go by the movie theater and like drive by the movie theater.
Motherfucker, that's so funny you say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cruise by the movie theater, all the windows down, radio all the way up.
Yeah.
The factory treble and bass all the way up, dude. Like,
Yeah, we because we were in Gunner, so Sherman was the closest. So Sherman Town Center, dude. We just like all go up there. Like I remember, this is how stupid it is, dude. I had a 99 V6 Mustang convertible, which I still have, still in storage. Whatever, it's not the point. It would be like 30 degrees outside, and I'd have the top down on that thing, and the music as loud as it could go. And
I'd
I'd
wearing
be
a big ass jacket, puff jacket.
Yeah, I'd be cruising that thing.
Yeah.
So where would you? Oh, I guess in Lubbock, like you would just cruise it out there.
Yeah, I mean, like we'd go in Lubbock. It's pretty much like one main street, and then everything that connects everything is called the Loop. So it's literally a huge circle. The whole town is set up like in a grid, so you can hop on the Loop and go anywhere.
Yeah.
So we would drive down 82nd Street, which is like the main big street, and you go to the movie theater. You go to these other like little gas stations or whatever, and you pull up, see people, and like that was like the only thing to do.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah. What looking kind of back at, I'm sure the answer is not probably your Tahoe, but what was the first car that you had that was like really got you into like the passion for automotive? Like,
so when I was going into my senior year of high school, I got rid of it was like 2 weeks before graduation or whatever. My dad bought me a C230 supercharged Mercedes.
Really?
And like I felt like big dick on campus,
yeah, bro.
I was like, I got a fucking supercharged Mercedes. I remember driving up to graduation. Everybody was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I put my system that I had in my Tahoe, which was a digital design competition 15. I put that in the Mercedes. Oh, dude, it was like, oh, dude, like I used to love having girls in that back seat. The thing would be fucking rattling so hard. But yeah, that was like the first car and like that I was looking at getting wheels for and like doing all that stuff. But I was always a system guy.
You were still in high school.
Yeah, so that was going into my freshman year of college. That was my college car.
That's a cool car to have, like, going to college, dude.
Everybody thought I was, like, the rich kid.
Of course.
So, like, my baseball coach would give me shit all the time. Yeah. All the guys from campus, they'd want to ride with me. And
was it brand new?
Yeah, like 15, 20,000 miles.
So
it was pretty
brand new.
Yeah.
It's close.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if, like, one of our buddies showed up in, like, a Mercedes in high school, we'd be saying the same thing.
Oh, everybody was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I mean, because when what's-his-name pulled up with an SRT8,
oh yeah,
it was
yeah, for sure. I don't know. In high school, dude, it's hard. It's like you obviously
get the hand-me-down cars.
Yeah. You don't have the money to go buy something cool. 100%. You're into cars.
Yeah.
But like I have a similar story, dude. Like my parents, my dad wasn't into cars. Like I don't know where it came from, man. I think it came from like early on, like riding dirt bikes and four-wheelers and like I don't know, man. It's like being around like
my dumbass.
Yeah, being around you, like we always used to like skate, and I don't. There may be a relation between like
huge into skateboarding.
Like skaters that like were into like tuners and like, we like in high school.
We grew up in that Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Civics, like everybody wanted a Honda Civic that was black or like a Honda Eclipse, Mitsubishi Eclipse. Yeah.
Aaron, why don't you tell Trevor what you had, dude?
Yeah, so I actually had one of those cars, and I had the black Civic with a body kit on it. green underglow.
Oh, sick.
That was
the exact same car.
Dude.
The cars that they were jacking.
At the
the
very
biggest
beginning.
piece of shit you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. I'll get to that. The very beginning of the very first Fast and the Furious, those green Hondas that come around that semi.
Yep.
So I had that car, but it needed a motor swap in it. And so, me and my dad are fucking around. He's talking about how could be like a car that could, bond us better and we could work on this together. And if anybody knows working on cars with their dad and shit, it just turns into him screaming at me to get shit. And,
or it takes forever.
Yeah. And it was both of those. And then we get everything hooked up. We drive around the neighborhood and it's just fucking sketchy to the point where he's like, let's not go out on the highway yet. And then it was just like that for the whole time we had it. And then we ended up just selling it.
Wow.
But it was
That's
so
still a
cool to
cool
have
car.
that turn on the underglow and be like, I got that fucking car.
Yes.
Like, I got that fucking car.
Dude, I can 3 or 4 of my buddies. That's all we would like talk about is like we wanted one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were I don't know, man. Like I'm not a tuner guy anymore. We were so into tuners in high school. Yeah. What was the Hella Flush, dude? Is like the website we would always like. Yeah, get on and
Hot Import Nights.
Hot Import Nights.
Hella
Hot Import
Flush,
Nights was big.
all that.
Hella Flush, yeah.
I remember when I went to I made my dad take me for my birthday to Dallas for Hot Import Nights show, and I took my buddy Tyson, and it was like the coolest. It was like when the Hummers had the first TVs in the windows and shit. Like,
and I've actually gone to Hot Import Nights like a few years ago for multiple years in a row, and it's still fucking badass.
Yeah.
Like it's still so fucking cool, and now it's like
but back
wide
in the
body,
90s, dude,
bro,
Yeah.
off the chart, cool.
Yeah.
Now it's just like wide body Lexuses and stuff like that. But back in the day, it was a fucking. It was a dream.
That shit.
It was a dream.
I've kind of had like a newfound like just within the last few months like a newfound like passion for 90s cars. Like I don't know why, like the nostalgia of it, but like I wouldn't mind having like a 240 or like a. I think everybody would love to have a Supra, but like, but like,
NSX, like you said.
Yeah, an NSX, or like, I don't know, the 90s cars are so cool, man. And it wasn't until just a few months ago that I like realized how much I like those cars. So
we had sick cars growing up that like you really can't like.
Yeah.
There's no way to. They're never gonna do that again. That's what sucks.
Yeah.
Even like the BMW M3 back in the day in the 90s.
The more squarish,
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Still gorgeous. When they're done right.
Yeah, for sure.
They look great. They look great.
For sure. Because we were in high school like 07 to 10. Is that right?
6 to 10.
6 to 10. Sorry, my math's not right. I have a learning disability too.
I graduated in 07.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
We graduated in 10. So like, I don't know. There wasn't that many cool cars. Cause like we didn't graduate high school in the 90s. So it wasn't like we like had a bunch of like 90s cars around, but
everybody had a fucking truck. Or
yeah.
an SUV.
Yeah.
No one had anything cool.
For sure.
Yeah. We grew up in a small town too, like in very similar to Lubbock, like very country, very like
everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody. And like everybody had like, trucks or like, beat down cars or, nobody really drove anything cool. Like we had a few buddies that drove some like cool stuff, but
my best friend Matt, he had probably the fucking coolest car on campus. It was the Chevrolet SS truck.
Oh yeah,
God!
But the new body style one, so it was like a 2003, 4, 5. That limited run they did.
They are so gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was so
well, and then you
black.
show up with a Mercedes, dude.
Yeah, it was like we were the duo. Like
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we were the duo.
So what was the model of the Mercedes?
C230.
Okay.
So it's the little 4-door.
4-door. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little supercharged. I think it's like a V6 or something like that.
That's still cool.
Or
dude.
a V4 maybe.
Yeah.
But it was still. Dude, I would wrap that thing out so fast on the fucking highway.
That's so cool, man. Well, so you played sports after high school. When did you decide that having a career in automotive was like where you wanted to go?
So like to backtrack a little bit, when I got out of playing baseball, I'd always had like strength coaches, and I'd always had to train and stuff like that. Because I was like in junior high and in elementary and junior high, I was like kind of the pudgy fat kid.
Yeah.
And I got made fun of it for that.
I feel that, bro.
So like I always had a trainer, so I was always like disciplined or like, but since I had a trainer, I always threw harder than everybody else.
Yeah.
So like, that's why I got to play college. And then once I got out of college, I was like, I can't go work for somebody else. Like, I've got to go do my own thing. And like, I've always had a hard time with, like a boss that I can see that's not working as hard.
Yeah.
Or like someone in an authoritarian role that's like, okay, you're telling me all this, but you're not fucking walking the walk.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel
I've
that.
always had fucking issue with that.
It's a huge problem.
So like, after college, I got done with playing ball and everything, and then I moved home, and I was there like 6 months, and my dad was like, you need to go find a job. Well, during the summers, I went to go work for Texas Tech and their strength conditioning coach, who I trained with. And I was like, Tori, I want to come work for you. And he was like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be a head strength coach somewhere. He's like, no, you don't. He's like, it'll take you 15 years to get where I am. And he's like, you're going to be the whipping dog. He's like, you're going to hate that. And he's like, what do I do? I was like, what do I do? He's like, go be a trainer for a couple of years. And then if you really want to fucking come do this, I'll get you a job somewhere. And I was like, all right. Well, I move out to Dallas where my sister lives. She lives out in Allen.
Yep.
And I worked at that Lifetime Fitness, that big ass one right by the Harley place. I worked there, ran into the same thing. My first year there, I'm working for this fucking douchebag, Matthew Heinrich.
Fuck you, Matthew.
Yeah, fuck you, Matthew. You work at a bank now. Like,
love it.
But he's just like this tall, skinny dude that like didn't really work that hard, talked all the talk. Like, you need to do all this sales stuff. And like, dude, I come out of college and my only job at that point was I had started detailing. I detailed, because that was like the thing to do in my hometown, is like either mowed grass, which I didn't want to do, or you washed cars.
Really?
So all like the seniors who I hung out with, because I played on the varsity, I'm like the freshman or sophomore hanging out with the seniors, and during the summer they're all washing cars, making money.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I want to make beer money too.
Yeah.
So I was washing cars with them, and then my senior year, my dad got me a car wash rig, and then I started washing my own cars and doing stuff like that. So that's how I learned about like how to do sales and how to make a sale.
Your senior year of college?
No, senior year of high school. That's when I started like
Oh, okay.
all throughout high school. I was like washing cars during the summers and stuff.
Okay.
But like when I moved here, I started that sales job, training, and like I'll never forget this, dude. Like when you start there, they want you selling at like $64 an hour or something like that, and you make $40 of that, $40 out of that. Well, like I was like, okay, well, what's the highest you can sell?
Yeah.
And he's like 110 an hour. So I was selling right out of the gate at 110 an hour. I'm like, I know all the strength and conditioning stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a graduate.
Right.
So I'm like, just because I don't have the certifications of these other dudes doesn't mean I don't know the knowledge of it. So I come out of the gates, like make my first couple of sales at 110 an hour, and I get pulled into his office, and he's like, what are you doing selling at a level 5? You're a level 1. And I'm like, you're getting mad at me? You're writing me up for selling, making you more money.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, dude, this is going to be a fucking rough road for me. So like, I ended up getting all my certs to be a level 5 where I could train at the highest level and charge at the highest level. And I did that for like 3.5 years. And I was just like, dude, I'm sick of this fucking place. Yeah. And I was making like, I think the most I made there was like $68,000 a year.
Really?
And like, they didn't really like me. And like, I didn't really like any of the trainers I worked with because they just didn't like, if you're going to tell, like, if we're a team, like, then let's fucking ride. But like, no one has anybody's back or like any of that shit. Like when push comes, like all throughout playing, I was always the dude that's going to speak up. Sure. I was always the dude that was going to tell coach to go fuck himself. Yeah. Or like, no, we're not doing that. Or like, no, like, or, you know, get on somebody's ass. Or like when you're in this corporate structure, everyone's scared to say something to the head guy. Or, you know, like, no, just know your role. And like, dude, he's not even doing his job. Like, why not call him out on it?
Right.
And
scared of the repercussions that come from that.
Right. Like, it's okay, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
You know, like, so I was always that guy, and like, I always kind of went against the grain. That's why I was like, and then, you know, I was into cars, and I had I think I think we had met kind of at that point because I had the ATS Turbo.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember some guy reached out to me at a private gym, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come move your clients here?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah." I went from making $68,000 a year to my first year making $100,000. My first six-figure, I ever made.
Just off what the amount that they were capturing from you from bringing in those
just
clients?
from me leaving and me, training I think I had 15, 20 clients at that time. I made $108,000 that first year. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Do you think you were working more or less than LA Fitness?
I was working more because I was there. You have to put in the hours to be known. Because I was working at a really small private gym.
I remember that.
Willow Bend. Yeah, Willow Bend over there, which is really it's all millionaires and billionaires.
I mean, that's big money in that area.
And that's who when you're, the people that can afford $110 an hour, they're making money.
Yeah.
And so I always tried to position myself with those higher end people and
100%.
we would talk business or networking or any of that kind of stuff. So I always I knew if I couldn't make the $1 million like I want to, then how do I position myself with these people that hey, I know Bill owns this restaurant that I can go eat at whenever I want to, or hey, I know so-and-so at this mechanic shop that I can send everybody to. So I always wanted to be, if I couldn't be the dude, then I wanted to be the point guy. The plug, pretty much.
Yeah. I think you've done a pretty good job at that, dude.
Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah, the networking part.
I love that part.
Yeah, I can tell that's a passion of yours. For sure.
Not to be cocky or anything, I don't know another motherfucker in my position that's got more connections than me.
Yeah.
Because I have millionaires and billionaire guys that hit me up hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Who do I call?
Really?
And I'll just plug them into people.
That's amazing.
I wish I could be in Angie's List. I really do.
Yeah.
That's so good to have because that puts you in so many different positions for you to go up.
Oh, yeah.
Just knowing those types of people and, say you're in a position where you need to call one of them. If you're there for them, they're there for you.
Yeah.
And, I think that's huge for sure.
Well, that's what that's why I worked so hard in training was I thought that if I showed these millionaire and billionaire guys how good my work ethic was and how good of a dude I was, then what would be stopping them from hey Trevor, I want to bring you in on this deal.
Sure.
Or hey man, I want to hook you up with this dude. Fuck this job you're at. And
I want to fund you with this.
And so that's why I always dude, for probably 7 years, I bet I missed probably 3 or 4 sessions.
Really?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Other than being sick, I was never late, always on time, never just bullshitted around for somebody. But then I'd be sitting there training, and at this point at Willow Bend, I'm really into cars. I'd gotten the CTSV and everything, and I'm doing 100, 108 to 115 a year.
Yeah.
And I remember hooking up with this other detail guy, and he's doing 130, 150, 180 a year, and I'm like, you're not working from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday like I am. I'm I want to give this a go too. So that's where I started to slowly step out, which pissed off the owners of the gym.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was the weirdest thing, and they would get mad at me for talking about cars on the floor. You need to be talking about training more than cars. At the 2 private gyms that I worked at, that's what both of the owners they'd get on to me for. Dude, you're talking about cars too much.
I'm trying to build rapport, motherfucker.
I'm dude, these guys have cars.
Yeah.
And then they would get you need to quit detailing so much, or you need to quit parking your car in front of the gym every day.
What the fuck?
Dude, you're jealous.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Oh, dude, this one dude was so jealous because I had the purple CTSV. I'd park it right in the front door. Right in the front door.
Yeah. And this was a very bright purple matte wrap.
Avery matte metallic purple.
Built motor.
Wheels,
this thing was bad, dude.
I love that car.
Yeah, me too, man.
I loved that car.
And I feel all the people that I've met that were kind of around CTSVs, when we all had them, everybody misses them, dude. That doesn't have them anymore.
That wedge shape of that car, the coupe.
Gorgeous.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah.
So sick.
Yeah.
Especially if we did it right. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, they were so cool.
I love the 2-door. I love the 4-door. I had a 4-door. But like the boxiness of the 4-door just looks so like sleek too.
And the cowl of the hood for the supercharger.
Yeah. So good, dude. So good.
So I've got to ask you, what I know you said that he started talking about money, as far as his detail company, and he wasn't working as many hours.
Yep.
Was that the point that
I was chasing money at this point.
So you were like, look, I need to back off this more, and then you started the transition. Is that kind of what
I tried
happened?
to do both at the same time.
Okay.
So I would do all my big money clients, because in training there's like this gap where you have 6 a.m. to like noon, if you're lucky, full of $85 to $100 an hour client, and then you have this gap from 12 to like, if you're lucky, like 3
when people start getting off.
Yeah, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, you're training somebody.
Yeah.
So like I have this huge gap, then I'd be like, all right, I can go get 2 cars in.
Yeah.
I can go get 1 car.
Really?
In. Yeah. So I'd leave, go do a car, come back, train the rest of the night. Then I'm like, dude, I can do 1 car to 3 clients. So I'm like, why not just
start doing that?
I'm like I was just like doing the math.
Yeah,
I'm like, I could do 1 car and that's 2 or 3 clients. I'm like, and that takes me an hour and a half. Instead, I don't have to be there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like that's.
So that's when the slow transition of you.
Yeah, because
switching everything around. Okay.
I had like maxed out on like what I could do training wise. I'm like, okay, do I start doing more people at a lesser rate and maximize the money, or do I keep upping the rate and do less people? It's like then I'm kind of running myself out of business a little bit. So I was like, I'm gonna try to do both, and then I just loved cars more because, dude, dealing with the training people, because then you deal with the same thing we were talking about, like them not showing up on time, them wanting to be 15 minutes late, and they still want to get their hour training in. I'm like, no, well, I got fucking Kelly right after you, and she doesn't want you. She doesn't want you 15 minutes into her time.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah, that's tough.
And then you're dealing with, you're their therapist too. And so if you're going through shit and then they're dumping all their shit on you, you get home and you're like,
almost like a bartender in a way. People are just venting everything
you're
they're going
wore out
through.
And like training is just like not a great thing to do when you're getting older. Because dude, if you're training girls, they're either trying to fuck you or after a small amount of time, you're like, oh, are we gonna fuck? Are we not? Like, okay, you're only gonna be a client. Like, so like that whole world is very real, and I learned that very early on, where I didn't do that shit. Yeah, because I was like, once you start doing that, then there's no money.
Yeah, dude,
for sure. Yeah, so
so that was actually gonna be my next question. Was like, when did you, like, what point in your life did you realize that starting a detail business was the route you wanted to take? So it sounds like
when did you go full bore? Like, did you keep that transition of doing both, or did you eventually just be like, shh, I'm going full detail?
I had a client.
This is what I'm doing. I'm fucking in it.
I had a client that actually helped start the supplement line for Dude Perfect.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Artis.
Okay.
He was a client / friend that worked out at the same gym that I was training at.
Okay.
And we would talk cars all the time when he was in there. And he pulls me aside one day and he's like, all you talk about is cars. He's like, why don't you just go do the car thing? I was like, well, I'm doing like 6 figures doing this. He's like, nah, you're going to make 3 times that if you just go do what you're passionate about. I'm like, he's like, I want to talk to you in 2 weeks and I want you to fucking fully do it. So I'm like, all right. And at this time, we had moved into our house over there on Harbor where you've been at. And I'm like, I think this is like 2015 or 2016. I think it's 2016. And I had already sold the V, so I had the truck. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'll start doing my clients. And then I started doing it more. And then I had a falling out with the owner at the Baby Dick Mike. I hope you're watching.
Fuck you, Mike.
Yeah. But
does Trevor have a lot of enemies? Or?
No, just the guys that just,
no, I'm playing, man. Yeah, they deserve it.
But I had a falling out with him, and then I was like, all right, I'm going full bore at this thing. Yeah. I'm going full at it. So 2016 is when I decided to do it, and I made my official LLC with one of my clients, and for 2017 is when it officially started. But I started doing it like all the time in 2016. Okay. But at this point, I'm fucking chasing the money only.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the cars, but like, I wanted to make $1 million like yesterday. Yeah. So like, I'm chasing the money.
Yeah, you're grinding.
Yeah. So like, it didn't matter where the car was or whatever. I'm doing it.
Yeah. So you're doing a lot of like house calls and.
Yeah, I was like fully mobile at that point. Yeah. So I'm going everywhere.
Yeah.
But I kind of went at it like in a different way where instead of going every single car everywhere all over the DFW area, I got on Instagram and I would hit up all the exotic car guys, and I would hit them up and be like, hey, what's your daily driver? Let me come do your daily driver, and if you like how I do your car, let me take care of the rest of the cars. I'll do the first car for free. And that's how it all started with the collectors.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, well, where's the high ticket items at? Like, where are the mechanic shops or the body shops that have high ticket items? Mm-hmm. So I hit up this one place called Eurosport that they just sold, and I've taken care of their cars for like the last 7 years. They're doing Saab, Infiniti, all Euro cars. Yeah. So it's $180 for a fucking oil change. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So adding another $125 or even them paying for it to do a detail, they'll do that all day for that client.
Yeah. For sure.
So I started doing details at these service places because that was like my in-between money. So like if I had people booked for the week and I had like a lull on like Tuesday or Thursday, I know I could go hit up either Eurosport or JP Euro to go do cars over there, and then I'm good. I've got something every day. Because I run into the thing, and I'm sure all the other guys do, is like if you're bored, you think that you're that you're a piece of shit. Yeah. You're not doing anything. You're going way backwards.
Especially when you're an entrepreneur, like you're starting a business. I think you get in your head a lot for sure.
Oh, it's a fucking. I'm sick. Like it's a sickness, dude. And like social media perpetuates that, but we'll get into that. But yeah.
So when did the shop come?
So I had been detailing at my house. So I did all the mobile work. Yeah. Going out to people's houses, doing multiple cars and stuff like that. And then I was like, all right, well, how do I make more money? And then that's when I started doing the paint correction and coating side.
Got it.
So that's when I was doing them at my house. And then you're taking care of Corvettes, Escalades, Lambos, Ferraris at your house. And I'll never forget it. I had one of my friends and clients, Lamborghini Aventador at my house, and the car cost more than the house. So I'm like, dude, I can't do this anymore out of here. Yeah. I'm like, this. And like everybody on my street, this is like the first year that we live in the house, and there's like, there's water and soap going down the street every day. And one of the guys at the end of the street, his dog had gotten out, and I went and took him back. And he's like, are you the guy over there with all the cars coming in and out of there? And I was like, yeah. He's like, it's cool if you're doing it, but like, are you drug dealing? And I was like, no, I'm detailing. I swear to God, that's exactly what he said. And I go, no, dude, I'm detailing cars. I was like, you don't see the soap and water coming from the driveway?
And he's the Lambos coming in my house?
He's like, well, I just always see these cars coming in and out of there. And I was like, yeah, I'm detailing them. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, dude, I thought you were dealing drugs. I was like, no, bro.
My neighbors think I'm selling dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. God. Yeah, but that's how it like. And then I had my friend Nate. He had owned the shop that I'm in now. He had owned it. Him and his wife had split, and that was her shop. And so no one was in it for like 6 months. And I was like, hey, let me slowly move into it. Okay. I'm like, he's like, you're already paying the rent on it. I was like, start me out on a low rent. And then let me eventually take it over once I kind of like build up to it. So that was like,
that's cool.
That was super cool of him. And like, I did that for, after like 3 or 4 months, I was fully paying the rent, which I was like, damn, this is
I imagine dope. That's probably a game changer too, moving into your own unit and it's not your home. and you're going like,
because everybody thinks you're legit then.
Right.
You know, like
at that point, I mean, you are.
Yeah.
You know,
because when you pull up, I mean, like, here's the thing, like, dude, I know my friend Bryce that I helped get, Bryce Artist, which is Dr. Artist's son.
Okay.
He's obsessed with cars, and I got him starting into detail.
Really?
So he artist details. He does it now still. He does it out of his fucking wide body Charger.
Yeah.
And he goes and does cars every day. And
you can make it happen.
So it's like, there's an entry point for everything.
Sure.
Like, I know a ton of kids that I helped start getting to the business that were doing it out of their Mustangs, or, you know, that's what I said. Like, you don't need a water tank. You just pull up. Yeah. You know.
Are they still doing business? Really?
Yeah, I've probably that's probably like my favorite thing about the business is like I've been able to actually help people start a life.
That's cool.
And I mean, I think that's huge. I think that could potentially bring more happiness than anything else because you're seeing these other guys grow.
There's a lot of gatekeepers in this industry, which that's what made me where I am now, is because of those dudes that threw up their nose to me when I first wanted to get in. Because I reached out to the 3 top detailers I thought in the DFW area. I reached out to them. I was like, I'll work for free. I'll outwork you. Like, I don't tell them that I'm going to outwork them, but like, I'll work with you every day. I'll work for free. Just teach me. Yeah. I won't steal your clients. I won't do any of that shit. Yeah. Just teach me, and I'll go on my side of town, and I'll do my thing. Yeah. And they're like, nah, man. And I was like, I'm going to fucking show you now.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, that's
where some motivation comes from.
Oh, that's where it all came from. So I was like, cool. I was like, I'll do it all myself.
Yeah, watch what I can
do. So you didn't have like a mentor that showed you how to...
Besides my dad showing me how to wash cars, like, that was it.
What was like the... I mean, were you looking at a lot of stuff online to learn how to paint correct?
YouTube University.
Yeah, YouTube University. No doubt. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And then, starting on your own. Like, I remember, like, very first thing I ever paint corrected was my Tundra truck. Yeah. Like, I went to the mall where Sears was still, and I bought the Craftsman, fucking ginormous fucking DA. And then, like, and then I'll never forget this. Like, shout out to Jason at JP Euro. I'd been washing a ton of cars, and like I knew what I was doing. And then I bought the Chemical Guys fucking like 4 or 5 step, process, And I hit him up, and he had just gotten a 2017 GTR, the Nissan GTR. And I was like, let me have it for the weekend. Let me detail it. Let me do all this stuff and like take some pictures and do all that stuff. And I'll bring it back to you let me pick it up Friday. I'll drop it off to you Saturday. And I do the car, make it look all fucking cool, polish it and everything, do all the steps on it. And what was so cool about Jason is he just let me have the car for the whole weekend.
I was going to say, man, like there's been some guys throughout your story that I think have been like just a amazing part of like creating who you are today. But yeah, it sounds like Jason's a great guy. Like letting somebody take their brand new GTR for the weekend.
Literally had no miles on it, just tuned it.
I mean,
like,
come on, man.
It's got red Rohana wheels on it. It was so sick. And like lets me do all that. And then that was my first detailing post.
Really?
And that's like kind of what like, oh, this kid can do cars like that.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's where it gave me like a little bit more umph when I would hit these dudes up that had Lambos and exotics and stuff. I'm like, well, I've already done this car.
Right.
Let me do it to yours.
Yeah. Do you think you need that? Like,
it's a lot of fakery.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, if, you were to have a Lambo.
Yeah. I mean, logically, it makes
you
sense.
want someone that has worked on similar makes,
mm-hmm.
similar models to be comfortable. You're spending the money and getting that done on your car that cost a house.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
And I would I'd always didn't like early on, and I thought it was just fun, like, cause I like learning. So I would look up the cars online the night before. Like if I knew I was going to Neil's house and I never worked on that car before, I looked up online. I would watch Doug DeMiro's fucking videos.
Yeah, bro, Doug.
Where's the latch for this? How do you get into the engine bay? Like I knew all that shit. So I would tell the owner and be like, all you got to do for me is garage door open, leave me the keys. You ain't got to do nothing.
Yeah.
Like I know all the buttons. You ain't got to move the car. And then I was set. Yeah. That way I'm not showing up and I'm like, oh oh my God, hey, Mr. So-and-so, can you show me how to open the roof for this?
Right.
Like, no, like, I already got it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's like, that's being a true entrepreneur. Like, it takes like,
you gotta want it.
You gotta really want it, dude. Like to do your research the night before after you've been detailing cars all day in the heat. Like, yeah, I mean, you gotta really want it, man. Yeah. That's cool. Like, you know, I think some people kind of fall into success, but you busted your ass to get to where you are, man. That's cool.
I've been chasing the money for a long time, and that's like, we'll talk about it more, but like, if I could give any advice on it, is if you could find what your purpose is in your passion, that's where the secret sauce is. Where like, my purpose in my passion is be like helping you. Yeah. Like, that's my secret sauce. Like, I'm good at what I do, but like, anybody can be good at what I do. But like, if I can help you network and like it genuinely makes me more happy when I can help someone than me making a lot of money. Yeah. Like,
that's cool, man.
Me being able to see you start your own business and be able to do that gives me so much more gratification than me like, oh, we cleared 200 this year. Yeah. I don't, that lasts for like that long. Sure. But when I see your post of like, hey, Lucas is doing Lambos now, or he's doing PPF and tint now. Yeah. Like, dude,
and you're going,
that makes me fucking so.
That's cool, man.
I love that. Yeah. So I'm like, that's my baby.
Yeah.
I love that.
And so is that something that you've thought to, go bigger scale? Have you thought of
that's all
franchising?
Or, that's like that's where like locations, the Detail Lab name and stuff like that. That's like I want to build it as a brand. Yeah. Where it's absolutely its own self-running thing. Where I like Trevor just gets to be the network guy for it. Yeah. You know, where like the Detail Lab's the brand. Like I literally like I've been working on it for like the last 2 years, getting it real deal trademark. Yeah. So like it'll be a real thing. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
That's so cool.
Where did the name come from? Was it?
I'm so into science. Okay. So like I was always into science for training and like
Oh, that makes sense, dude.
Yeah. So like I'm all like. I always just said it like bringing in, I'm dropping it off I'm in the lab.
It's today, in the lab.
Yeah. So, like, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, and it really kind of is, dude. Like there's an art and science to
for sure. You got to know the different paths.
And like I just thought of it as like Dexter's Laboratory. That bitch is clean.
Yeah.
Like surgical.
Sure.
So that's the way I always thought it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So the shop, you got the shop in what year?
It's probably 18.
18. Yeah. How quickly? I know you said 4 months to like kind of start paying back rent, but like you got to fill a shop with tools and supplies and like. Yeah. When did you kind of feel like you grew into it? Like, was it pretty quick or?
So like when Nate was fully out of there and he was like, our shop sit like this and I was here, Nate was on the corner. Once I started like painting the walls and like really like making it my own, that's where I was like, and then I got the Swiss Trax flooring in there and stuff like that. I was like, this is like, I made it like my home at that point. So like I tried to like just turn everything into there. Yeah. So like I started telling my mobile guys, I'm like, hey, I'm not doing mobile anymore. You got to come to the shop. Yeah. Like, I want to be able to build the shop. I can't be going out. Like, sure. I'm paying a mortgage. Yeah. Where I can't be coming to your house and doing one car, bro. Like,
did you lose clients?
Yeah, I lost a lot. I mean, like, easily you should do anywhere from like on the low end, like 40 grand to like on the mid end, like you should be doing at least 100 G's out doing mobile. If you're not, then you're really not. You're not trying. Yeah. Because it's out there. Because you can go do that easily. Go do 5 cars a day at $150. $150 a car.
People will pay for it. People will pay
all day long.
For the convenience of you to come to them at for sure. Where they're working at or wherever they may
Especially if you're doing it at a high level and they're making their car cleaner than you've ever been, then they'll refer you all day.
Is there more money in quantity or like, detailing one Aventador?
Honestly, it works out to be the same.
Does it? Yeah.
So like if you do one dirty detail, let's just say like a Tahoe. It's really, really dirty, and you're going to charge like, say, $300, $400, and that thing takes you 4 hours. I can do the same job, 4-hour job on like a correction and coating on a same car, and make 2,000.
Yeah.
So it's like, why am I going to do? You just kind of pick your battles. So like now I do like 3 or 4 corrections and coatings a week.
Okay.
Because once you like get out of doing, like, if you're doing 1 a day, somewhere in there the quality is going to be a little bit lower.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give the best paint correction and absolutely no high spots on a coating.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to do very, very high end, high quality, high delivery, and a high price point. Where like if I'm trying to do these couple of $100 jobs in there, it's like, dude, I'm just working myself thin now.
Sure.
So like if I had a dedicated guy working for me that, hey, all you're doing is the make ready stuff, all you're doing is the prep, the washing and stuff like that, I could load that for sure. But it's like, or I could just keep all the money and do 3 or 4 jobs a week, and I can call it cool on Friday and do whatever I want.
Right.
So you can build the business however you want to. It's just whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
How much you want to. Because I've worked myself to the bone.
Right.
So I've seen it at both ends.
Sure.
You know, so where do I want to kind of be at?
For sure.
Yeah. How long did it take? I mean, because I think you kind of have to work in the industry a little bit to gain that knowledge, right? Unless somebody tells you, right? I mean, I don't know if somebody's trying to start a detail business, like you just got a lot of knowledge, but yeah, I mean, but like for you didn't have a mentor. So like you kind of had to try different things out, work, a couple different types of jobs within detailing to like figure out like where you could be the most efficient and make the most money.
It took me like really when I was at my house, where I'm doing like, I have a 2-car garage. You can only have 1 car in there when you're working on.
Yeah.
Well, if the other car, you don't want the next car sitting outside.
Right.
No.
So it's like you can only do 1 car every 3 days.
Right.
So it's like, all right, I got to get more space.
Yeah.
So now I can do, I can pretty much load 3 cars in there, but still you're only doing 1 job every other day at a high level.
And I feel like as you progress and get better, I feel like the time that you're working on that car is going to get a lot quicker, just because of the repetitiveness, and you learn like what works and what doesn't work. You're not sitting there with 1 pad and you're like, that pad's not going to work, or that product's not going to work. You're like, let me start off with this. I know this is going to get me going.
Yeah, you get these go-tos, and you also kind of learn that from like, if you can get, like, my greatest mentor in the detailing industry has probably been my friend Joel, who owns Underdog, which is like 100 feet from my front door.
Really?
And so like he turned me on to Kosh Kimmy like 3 or 4 years ago, because I was using Meguiar's and Griots and stuff like that. He's like, dude, this one compound, you can 1-step everything, or it's the perfect 2-step, or it's like, and when the first day I had that bottle, I shit you not, it was 2 to 4 hours cut out of my correction time. Yeah. And then it was the pad he would show me. Another. So it's like, I'm making $400 to $600 an hour now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
cutting that time down.
Yeah. It's like, okay, dude. And I think back and like, I was training for $85 to $100 an hour, and I was like, I'm making lawyer money now.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude. Yeah. No kidding. That's cool. Who is under? Are they a detail shop?
So they're a chemical company.
Oh, chemical company. Okay.
They make the coatings that I use. They make spray detailers, interior cleaners. You can order pads, all of it. Yeah.
So similar to, you may know Cam at Drive.
Yeah. Okay. And I started with Cam too.
Yeah. So Cam's a super cool guy.
Yeah,
That's
super nice guy.
You know who I go through. I figured it was
Drive
similar
for
to that.
like 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, he's got everything.
Yeah, his stuff's awesome.
So it's very similar to that.
Yeah.
In a way, he's got
every single product. You can make your own, and like if you wanted to, you can private label through Joel too.
Yeah.
Really?
So yeah, if I wanted to, I could have my own detail lab coating. Whatever.
You thought about it?
I don't really want to handle all that stuff. If I ever wanted to do merch, it would be like NFD, no fucking discounts merch.
Yeah. I love it, dude.
I like that. I like that.
That's my
I know you're big on no discounts.
Yeah.
No.
You gotta support the small businesses, man.
I agree, man. 100%.
Absolutely.
It like, I try not to show it because I'm such like a facial expression person. Mm-hmm. But like when people ask me that, like, to me personally, you're kicking me in the nuts. Yeah. Like, you have no idea the level that I'm gonna go to like try to do this car for you, because you came to me. Yeah. Like, and for you to ask me that, it's like you're devaluing what I'm trying to give you at my best ability. Yeah. Like, to me, it's like, I know you're not trying to be rude, but like, you're being very fucking rude.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't take kindly to it. So I'm like, I have it on my door. Absolutely no discounts, like in red.
Yeah.
I remember asking my sign lady, I was like, would it be bad if I said fucking on it? Like, can I put that? She's like, no, let's not put that. Let's do absolute. And I was like, I really wanted to say no fucking discounts.
Yeah,
She was like, no, let's use absolute instead. I'm like, all right.
No, and I mean, and I get that, and I've heard you talk before, and you talk about the people that run the New Year's specials or all the specials. You have
that stuff will kill you.
You have the clients that are gonna fuck up their shit all for the whole year because they know that $1,800 price point is going to be
$500,
$600,
yeah.
$500, $600, and they can
I
go
could talk
through
all day about that.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a huge thing, and people that are looking for discounts, they're going to wait. If they know that you're discounting stuff,
yeah,
they're going to wait till you do it again because you will do it again.
They know Thanksgiving, Christmas, start of the school year. I mean, it's the same thing in like all like sales cycles. Like, and I have buddies that like do car parts and stuff like that. They offer discounts and like they'll do these bundle deals and stuff. And like, I used to do that for personal training. Like at the end of the year, right before January, you could sell these packages and it would be at a lesser rate.
Yeah.
But then everybody just waits around for that end of the year. So I'm like, when I would see people do that in detailing, I'm like, dude, why are you giving that away?
Yeah.
It's not the right clients that you want.
No. And like those people aren't going out and they're going out telling people about the $500 price that you just got. Yeah. And then that next person that's coming in there is thinking, oh, I'm getting the $500 thing. Yeah. Like, nah, bro, like that was just for him. Well, then that guy tells everybody else that price.
He gets a sour taste in his mouth.
Yeah, so it's just like, no, dude, just stay at the high price.
Yeah.
It's not the right client.
We so I work in marketing, right? We like have a saying in marketing. It's like you're either a discount brand or you're not. It's all or none. I've worked for a lot of clients doing their marketing for them, and a lot of like big apparel companies like Carhartt and Adidas. Like we're talking about big brands that once you start to do a discount on something, you now have to start doing discounts every other week, once a month, whatever it is, because that's what drives your traffic, right?
It's hard to start. It's hard to get that number back up.
Yeah, because like you said, people will wait for it, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a brand, you can't wait on revenue. So it's either all discount. You're a discount brand. You're doing discounts every other week, every month, or none. And that's just what it. And there's like an argument to be made too about when you discount your service, it devalues your brand as well, right? Like that's a big conversation. I don't know who is hitting me up from work, but sorry if you guys hear that in the background.
But when have you ever seen Rolls Royce?
Yeah.
Or anybody of like Rolls. I mean, have you ever seen a Lamborghini commercial? No.
I mean, it doesn't happen.
You ever see a Rolls Royce commercial? No. Yep. They don't market because they already have a brand that is established for what their price point is.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the way I wanted to. That's the way I came out of the gate. I wanted to come out of the gate looking high end, where it's not like I'm not begging for your business, dude. Like, I would rather not do the work and feel better at a high value than me. And you've probably done this before, is like you're working on a car that you know that you should have told them this price, but you're doing it at this price, and the whole time you're working on it, you're like,
why am I?
Yeah. You're like, this is taking me way too long. I should
say $1,800 job. Why am I doing it for $7?
Yeah, and you're like, you're
mad about
pissed and mad the whole time. Like, I don't want to operate like that.
Yeah.
I would rather be like,
well, and then they're thinking it's going to be an $1,800 job, and you're trying to, give them that, but
you have to cut
mentally
corners.
You're thinking about it as a $700 job, and then when they get
you're having to talk about it afterwards. It's like, well, you didn't do this for this, and you didn't do that for that. I'm like, well, you only wanted a $700.
You paid this. Yeah.
You're thinking you're getting $1,800. It's like, well, now I got to deliver an $1,800 job for $700.
Yeah,
which is a lot more work. People don't understand how many more steps that could take.
That brings me back to my other point. Is like, why would I want to do the $400 detail when I'm doing the $2,000 job at the same effort in the same time?
Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna ask, what do you think's been like your biggest challenge in starting your business? And maybe this is it, right? But like, I'm curious.
I would say me.
You, yeah.
Yeah, and I think this kind of goes for like all entrepreneurs. I think when you're a high achiever and you're motivated and you're dedicated, you fall into this like, that's why I was saying like I'm sick.
Yeah.
You fall into this like looking over the other side and like, well, he has this. Their business is doing that. They're charging this. He's making that. And you fall into this like comparison thing.
Sure.
Keeping up
like,
with the Joneses. Almost.
Yeah, it's like, well, like my really good friend Cody, like he fucking crushes it, dude. And he's the most humble person. You would never have an idea how much money he makes. But like when I go over there, I'm like, I'm envious as fuck.
Yeah. It's hard not to.
And I'm over there and I'm like, dude, he's killing this, and like I'm not doing anything close to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I fucking suck. And like and I'll get into that like sick mentality of like, dude, I'm not doing well. And like my wife sees it on my face all the time. I'll get home and like I just made like a $4,000 day. And it's like that I haven't done shit.
Yeah.
She's like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, I'm thinking about how this client was late, and I'm thinking about how like I should have gone off on this person, or I gave, $50 off on this, or like, dude, you just made more in a day than some people make in 2 weeks. Yeah. Like, that's my biggest challenge as like an entrepreneur and like a business owner, because I'm chasing this, get to my first million. And like one of my mentors, he's like, what are you going to do when you get there? I'm like, well, once I get the money, I want to invest it into something to make more and more and more and more. And he's like, dude, I've sold my business like 3 or 4 times over for hundreds of millions of dollars. He's like, you sound like me 10 years ago. He's like, I'm not happy at all.
Really?
He's like, the first time I sold my business, I went out and bought the best watch I could buy. Second time I sold my business, I went and bought the Mercedes that I always wanted. He's like, the third time I sold my business, I went and bought 2 Ferraris. He goes, and I went and bought 2 Ferraris. I'd had 7 at the time. I'm sitting at a light in my brand new Mercedes, and I missed the light because my wife goes, what are you thinking about? He's like, what's next? And I'm like sitting there at dinner with him. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, you are me. He's like, you're not happy. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not happy. I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. He's like, you're right where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like where I am right now, like that's why I like, as much as you want to like set goals and like have this 3 to 5 year plan, it's like you really have to like think about you're doing exactly what you need to be doing like right now. Yeah. Like if you're disciplined,
if you're doing it
right, if you're disciplined, you're dedicated.
Yeah.
You're successful.
Yeah.
Like if you're dedicated to your craft, you're passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
And you're disciplined about what you're doing, that's already a win.
Sure.
And like the Bible says it the best. Like he's already given you everything you ever need. Like I have absolutely everything I need to be happy. The only one that's fucking it up is me.
Yep.
So like as long as I can get out of my way, and that's what I've been like slowly trying to do, is like I try to white knuckle everything in my life. Control it. I need this client to show up at this time. I'm sending them 4 fucking reminders of when to show up, and they still don't do it. And I'm like, and I'm mad about it. And like, when I can't control what they're doing, and like, why do I even care?
Yeah.
So like, if once I've been really working on that, and like really working on just like the friends that I have around me and the people that I hang out with, and like, I don't smoke, I don't drink anymore.
Yep.
Like I work out, and like, I already am successful. I just don't don't give myself enough credit for like what I've done. And I think a lot of us men do that. It's like we get into this like thinking that we need this and that because they have it and we don't. And it's like, no, dude, like you have everything you ever need. You already have it.
So do you think that with you saying all that, do you think that that's something that you see when you're scrolling on social media?
Oh yeah, it's 100%.
And you say so you think that
I almost deactivated my Facebook today. Like I'm sick. Like
so it's really just you seeing that they have that, and you're going, I didn't do enough. I'm not working.
Even
if it's not even if it's them faking
a lot of
something.
Fake. Yeah.
Obviously, we all know a lot of the stuff we see on Instagram is fake. People. You seeing that still has an effect on you being like, I need to grind harder. I'm not doing enough. I need to keep going.
Yeah, like
you think that's the problem is that people see on what they see on social media.
There's just, and like, this isn't a bad thing. It's not a knock on anybody, but like, there's a certain group of people that need the motivation.
Yeah.
They need the David Goggins books. They need the 75 Hard. They need the motivational Jocko movies in the morning on YouTube when they're in the shower. They need the motivational talks. They need all that. I'm that, like, I'm not trying to sound boastful or anything, but like, I'm that 0.1% that I don't need that. Like, I'm already self-driven. I'm already self-dedicated to things like that. Me watching those things makes me feel like a piece of shit.
Because you're wasting the time.
No, I feel like that. Well, fuck, I gotta push the gas harder. I gotta grind harder, and I'm already grinding harder than anybody else is.
Right. So you're not trying to get going. Yeah, it's like you're already there.
I'm already in 6th gear at fucking 9,000 RPM, and I'm like,
so people watch that because they need something to get them started.
Right.
Whenever you're,
which is fine,
full bore.
That's great. But like for me, that gives like me being self-aware now. That shit gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
Because it makes me want to work harder.
Yeah.
But it self-sabotages me because I'm working so hard that like I'm not even enjoying it. Like I hate it.
Like you said, you're where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Like and like, my mentor is asking me, he's like, what's the next phase of it? And I'm like, right where I am. Like, I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to grow at anything more than if I wanted to. If I wanted to, I could probably do it if I wanted to. But like, I got to find how to enjoy it. Yeah. Because right now I don't.
Yeah. It's, I think, like you said, man, for people that are really motivated, I see it a lot in entrepreneurs. I think it's taken me a long time. I'm not an entrepreneur, and like I can admit that. I am very much a detail person, but like I know a lot of entrepreneurs that like they think big all the time. Like they think of like, what's the next big thing? Like, what are we gonna do next? Like, I'm not. I think of like all the steps that we need to take to get there. But when you're constantly thinking about like, how am I going to make that $1 million? Like, how am I going to get that car? Like, we're going to do this next year. We're going to, like, you just put so much pressure on yourself.
So much.
And yeah, dude, like when you're,
and no one talks about that. Like, not to cut you off, but like, I think that's a thing for like us men that like, there's some weird egotistical thing that we're scared to like tell your friend, like, bro, I'm fucking struggling with this. Like, like it's okay to like reach out to your guy friends and be
100%.
like, hey man, can we talk about this? Like,
100%.
Like I'm really struggling at work because of this.
Yep.
They're like, I need to vent for a second.
Sure.
Because like it's almost like taboo to talk about it with your friends about like your guy struggles. Like, you're supposed to be this man and you're supposed to have this persona of like holding all this shit in. It's like, that's how you get hurt. Yeah, man. Like that's
absolutely. And I've talked with a few buddies, and they, they're scared to talk to friends, but then they also don't want to talk to their girlfriend or their wife about it because of the repercussions that may come with it, not verbally, but some other way.
Right.
And
they feel the masculinity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They don't feel like they can have anyone to talk to.
Right. And
when we eventually get there and we talk about those things, it's they say it's like a boulder taken off their back.
Oh yeah.
We all need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And it necessarily doesn't need to be our significant other.
Right.
It can be our best friends, because some of the times that's going to be the best person to talk to get those things out without any judgment.
Yeah. Especially like you, as a guy, like talking to another guy friend, like
for sure.
If they're a true friend, they shouldn't judge you. Right. Like Aaron said, I think a lot of guys maybe hold it in because to their guy friends, they, you want to be manly and like, hard. Then you don't want to talk to your wife or girlfriend about it because you don't want them to think less of you as a man, right? Because there's like this persona out there that,
which even if they say they don't, they still will.
Right? Oh yeah, there's still a judgment.
There's a podcast, I can't remember the name of it, but he talks all about that, like how you should never show any weakness to the woman that you're with or whatever, right? Don't necessarily agree with all that, but yeah, man. I mean, it's tough. I deal with anxiety too. You know, it's something I've dealt with for years, and I go through ups and downs, and like I have to have like a friend that I can like, hey dude, this is what I'm dealing with. Like, just letting you know, this is what I'm dealing with. It's hard, man. Like as I've gotten older, like, I've made acquaintances or, relationships with people. And like, when you're dealing with something, like all you want to do is like, just curl up in a ball and not like talk about it and not
you
deal
want
with
to self-isolate.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with anything. And it's like,
that's what all of us men do. We self-isolate. We hold in all of our aggression, or we hold in all of our hurt and all the bad things.
Yeah, and it's hard because like when you have your own business, when you have a lot of friends or acquaintances, people that are relying on you to be places or communicate with them, it's like it's so easy just to go dark because you don't want to talk to some certain people about things. And like, that's, I've had happen, ruin relationships because, you're not communicating. And it's like, it's tough, man. And I'll say like, men's mental health, like it's okay to not be okay, but, you should have somebody that you can talk to about it. And I would say it probably should be a friend.
The best thing that I've done in the last 2 years is I hired a therapist.
Yeah.
That's like
wonderful.
Yep.
Dude, it's like the best Friday I have is like being able to go in there and talk to her, or talk to him. I'm like, and I'll tell my guy friends about it. I'm like, bro, why don't you just go talk to somebody about it? Like a real professional.
Yeah,
and they're like, no, dude, I don't need that. I'm like, that right there.
Yeah.
The fucking mentality of us.
Everybody needs
like, dude, just go fucking talk to someone just one time.
Yeah, man.
Just to get the weight off your chest, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
because that feeling is different when you leave your therapist's
with
office.
a professional, like walking you through like what that thought is.
Yeah.
You're like, God damn.
It's funny. I have a therapist that I see on Fridays as well. And dude, it's like, it's okay for you guys to have therapists, to have people to talk to. Like, it doesn't make you any less of a man. And like, to be honest with you, like we're so in our heads a lot of the time. That's like, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with my therapist, and I'm like, I walk away and I'm like, oh, that's what's wrong with me. Oh, I didn't even think about it that way. Like, oh, like, and you could think that you're the smartest, most logical, like, yourself, no, I'm telling you, when you talk to a professional and they can like diagnose the thought that you have or the situation that you had, or, whatever it is, like, dude, it can be life changing. So,
or just being able to be in the same room with them and then just sit there and listen to you.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
Just to be able to vent and let everything out without anything.
No holds barred. There's no judgment at all. I can say I just literally killed a guy and there's a body in my trunk. Yeah, and like I can tell you that.
I think they have to report that, Trev. But but like dude, genuinely, you can. I think besides like telling somebody that you're saying that you hurt somebody or you're gonna hurt yourself. Yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want, dude, and it can be life changing, especially for people that, like you said, man, are entrepreneurs starting a business. Like, we compare a lot as men, like on social media all the time. Yeah.
And I think like what Riker said, like it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there.
Yeah, if you're not doing anything,
you have to actively do things that are going to get you into a better place mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever you have to do. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there.
Not to work on
period.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good.
That's where that's why like I'm never gonna stop fitness. Yeah. Like I only train one lady now, and it's just out of like she ain't ever gonna quit.
Yeah.
And but like that is such a mental release for me.
Yeah.
Like to be able to go in there for 30 to 45 minutes and just be able to work out, and like, I want to look a certain way. I want to feel a certain way. And like that all helps with that. And like me training all these millionaires and billionaires, that's the thing that they always chased was their health. They're not a lot of those dudes are fucking miserable, bro.
Yeah.
Like just like my mentor, like he's not in a good spot mentally, and he's got everything. Thousands of employees, multiple complexes that he owns. He ain't happy.
You find that a lot.
Yeah, so it's like, and a lot of those millionaire guys I was training, like they were cheating on their wife,
Yeah.
They've got girlfriends or they've got kids with different women.
Yep.
They're not happy.
They're trying to find happiness everywhere else.
Yeah, and and I thought, and I've just learned this in the last couple of months of like, if I can get to these millions of dollars that I want, or hundreds of thousands of dollars that I want, and have the houses that I want and the cars that I want, then I'm gonna feel good. Oh, I'm gonna feel good when I get this. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I got to get right spiritually. Yeah. I got to get right mentally, and then everything else will flow from that. Mm-hmm. But if I'm not right here, everything is off. Mm-hmm. And like as soon as I got my spirit back, that's where a lot of it started to change.
Yeah, man.
Because instead of my treasure has been money when it should have been God the whole time.
Yeah.
Where like I wasn't, not to say that my work isn't like glorifying him, but I only was doing it to like, what's the max fucking ticket I can get today?
Yeah, man.
You know?
I have you shall have no other gods before me tattooed on my wrist. And for me, it's not necessarily like having other gods before him. Other gods meaning like money,
right,
or power or fame, or you should put nothing before, right, your relationship with Jesus. But I there may be some people watching that aren't religious. That's fine. It's just we're talking about what helps us as men. And yeah, dude, that's like, especially in my early 20s, it was like, how can I make 100, 150, 200, 250, 3, like, how could I get to $500,000 a year in a salary? Like, what did I need to do to get there? And dude, there's just so much more important things out there. And
yeah, because the guys that have everything, they want what I have, is the freedom. Or I can't, like, it was so cool. Like, one of the first guys I got was, his name's Eddie Lee, and he had I think at the time he still has the highest grossing or highest sales on Bring a Trailer. He sold his Ferrari Enzo for almost $5 million on there.
Wow.
And I used to take care of that car, and he's got a Koenigsegg CCXR, which is like one of 5 in the world. And like, when he'd come out there and watch me, and I was detailing those $1 million cars for $80 a car.
Yeah.
And he'd come out there. Right. Yeah. This is right when I'm starting.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And like, he'd wear me out on shit like that. But like, he'd come out there and he's like, man, I'm just so envious of you. I'm like, what? I'm like, you got all this. Like, you got a Koenigsegg sweatsuit on right now, bro. I'm like, you're envious of me?
And I'm covered in sweat.
Yeah, I'm like, dude. I'm like, wow. It's like, when you start looking over the other side, you're like, they're really not all that happy either.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a battle that men will face forever, dude. Yeah. It's not something that can be, I think it's wired. It's wired, and to compare, to want more, to
change. Social media only makes it worse. That's 100%. Why, like, dude, if I didn't have to have the eyeballs on what I do, then I wouldn't be on it. But then I wouldn't have, like, that's free marketing, and like that's the big thing too. Is like, that would be my other big tip for detailers or anybody that's starting a business of any kind. Use Google Business. Yeah. Load as many fucking pictures on there as you possibly can, because the algorithm likes that. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, use all that stuff to get going. Just like, don't get lost in the sauce on it, because it's easy to get there and compare. But that's all free marketing. Yeah. And like, that's what, like, to your point about the deals, like, people will share that shit. Or like, there's going to be hundreds of people that might. That's what I have to keep telling myself, is like, I only got like 60 likes on that CTSV or whatever, the badass Lamborghini I did. I'm like, all right, well, how many eyeballs really scrolled past it and they looked and like, oh, fucking Trevor's doing another car again. I'm not going to
100%.
So it's like,
they see it.
Yeah, they see it. They might just not like it.
Yeah.
And like another thing that I heard was that, when you're running a business and you're using it for, social media, don't get caught up in consuming. Yeah. Focus on producing. produce your own content. Make your content. Focus on making the content for the social media. Don't focus on sitting there consuming it, scrolling. That's when you get lost in the sauce, as you said. When you focus on, okay, cool, I took this reel, this picture, this video, this. Okay, cool. I'm getting on social media. I'm about to just boom, knock all those out. Straight marketing.
That's a great point.
No, you're not focused on sitting there laying in your bed, scroll. You just focus on putting the content out there and then stepping back from it. I think that's where it could be a huge benefit to people, is not total consumption.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because the algorithm's built to keep you in there.
Exactly. It's easy, man. It's easy to get lost in it.
But when you're the one producing the content, that algorithm is riding with you, not with the consumer.
Use them as tools, right?
Exactly.
I have a different view on social media because I that's what I do for a living. So I see them more as like a tool or a way for me to make money and living. But and I know the inner workings of social media and the algorithms and how things work and how platforms talk to each other, and so it's like I have maybe a little different perspective on social media than most. That doesn't mean like I can still consume and get lost in TikTok and everything, but I don't know. As you get older and you start mature, you start realizing what's important in life, and we probably wouldn't be having this conversation 10 years ago in our early 20s, right? Like you get a little older and you realize there are more important things in life than fame and money and cars and and it is. It's like in your 30s, your early 30s, mid 30s, it's kind of like a slap in the face of like, oh, well, like I'm not where I wanted to be. Like 20-year-old me would like, I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 30, right?
That's what I told myself. I thought I was going to have my first million by 35. Yeah. And when I turned 35 in August, it's like, what a fucking loser.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I was like talking to some of my buddies, and they're like, bro, like, you have a better house than me. Like, you these. My buddy Brandon was telling me all these things. I was like, yeah, but it's not enough. He's like, there it is. Yeah. He's like, dude, you're sick. And I was like, yeah. We just say that we're sick, but I'm like, yeah. He's like, you need to check yourself.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check myself in.
You gotta check yourself in. No, it sounds like you got some good friends, man. That's good. Heavy stuff, but I think I think it needs to be said. Whoever's watching, if you're watching, thank you. Yeah. Hopefully you can relate to some of it. Well, cool, man. What as we're kind of ending that conversation, what is your vision for the Detail Lab? I mean, I know you're where you want to be, right? Like, but do you see yourself franchising out? Do you see yourself having multiple locations, more employees? Curious.
The dream is I want to get into the storage side of it.
Okay.
I got all these, because once you start like accumulating these kind of forever clients, it always comes back. You start to kind of like learn, like I was telling you about my lady that'll just burn 50 to 80 grand on depreciation on cars. Once you learn, like, all right, so-and-so only has 6 cars at a time in a year. Yeah. And they're getting rid of 3 or 4 of them and they're keeping 1. What if I could just store a bunch of their cars? Or, and that's where Texas garages come in, and garages in Texas, and then there's this other company coming around that you can do these, those places where where it's like your man cave / garage or whatever,
where you keep your cars.
Right, and I'm like, well, I want to do all of that in one house. Like, I want to be. Have you ever been to Tactical Fleet?
No.
Oh shit, we need to have a field trip over there.
Okay.
So Tactical Fleet, in the short version, it's a dealership. But they do almost everything in-house. So they have a detailer. They have XPEL Clear Bra on there. They do window tint.
Really?
They do car storage, consignment, and sales.
Wow.
Well, their facility is a 30,000 square foot facility. The whole back wall is 10 racks of bin pack lifts, the 3-tier ones.
Yeah.
Each one of those cars sitting on that rack is $500 a month just to sit there. That's a gym membership. People are not thinking of those things.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like, oh, I've got 3 cars over at Tactical Fleet. Yeah. At $1,500 a month, and they're just sitting back there
taking up. You've got a whole wall of them.
Yeah, it's taking up 200 square feet of your shop, bro. Like it's nothing.
Because you're 3 high. I mean,
so it's like that's where I want to get in. That's my dream. Is like I want to be the West Coast Customs. Like I want to do paint and body.
Oh really?
Oh fuck yeah! Like when you said your wife's, I was like, oh, I want to dip into that. You know, like because I want to be able to do the whole from start to finish. I want it under my control.
Yeah.
Like I want paint and body, detail, clear bra, window tint, storage.
Well, yeah. And the thing about that is that the detailing, the window tint, all that is something that could be added on after you're doing auto body. You know, someone comes in and they've gotten to a wreck. You're like, well, hey, while you're in, you know, why don't we do some window tinting? Let's
just coming in for storage. We can do all this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, like I'm tired of like I've always wanted to do a wrap on my hood, or I've always wanted to do this. I'm like, cool, let me facilitate it because I'm already connecting all the dots for everybody else.
Yeah. One stop shop.
Yeah, and a lot of it never really comes back around to me, and I'm always feeding everybody else. I'm like, why don't I just do it all?
Yeah.
So like that's where I've always wanted to get all the money to be able to do everything I want to do.
Yeah.
So like I've got some medical investment stuff that I'm hoping that pays off, and that's what I want to do with
cool, man.
I want to get a facility that I can build. I want to own the land. I want to own the property. That way, that is what the detail lab is.
Yeah.
Where if I can build that model, then I could go, hey, this is going to be the prices that I want to do.
Yeah.
These are the locations I want to do. Who wants to buy it?
Yeah, 100%.
Then I can franchise.
Yeah.
Like that's
and you get to that, then you could use the bank to borrow against that to get into other stuff. I mean, it could.
But that's where I've been like trying to build all these networks of people and have the right clients. Where I'm like, hey, when it comes check time, like this is what I want to do. Who wants to get in on it? Then like that's what I want to do. But that's the dream.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm starting to get better at like appreciating where I'm at on the journey.
Yeah.
And like the best thing I do is like I'm gonna help Aaron do his thing. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Like, I that would be my ideal thing to wake up to every single day.
Yeah.
Just to be able to wake up, business is running itself. Who can I go help today?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
That's amazing, dude.
Like that's all. I get so much enjoyment out of that. Like my favorite story to tell is my friend Lucas that lives in Lubbock. He like when we were in high school and college, he was an addict, like pill addict.
Yeah.
Like when we were taking shots, he was snorting pills.
Mm.
Well, like he got in a bad spot, did rehab. I don't think he did any time or anything like that, but like he got so bad that like he drove his car through a boat one night and then drugged the boat and trailer through a couple of other cars.
Oh wow.
So like he was in a bad spot. And he went to school and became a counselor, started counseling to, addicts. Yeah. And then he hit me up one day. He's like, dude, I really want to get into detailing. Like, I see all the stuff you're doing. Like, could you teach me? I'm like, fuck yeah. I was like, find us a car to do in Lubbock. I'll come down there. So we did a car together. And then I was sending him all the videos that I was watching on YouTube, every step of everything that I was doing. We would talk for hours on the phone about pricing and everything. He started out of his truck, out of his Dodge Ram, detailing cars everywhere. Then he got his first shop, and he's had like 2 or 3 shops since then. And like every time I watch it, I'm like, fuck yes. Like I love that.
That's awesome, dude.
Like that's what like if I could do that every single day, then like I would be so happy.
Yeah. I can tell that's your passion, man.
Yeah. I mean, you could see it even when you talk about it. It's a totally different energy than
I just love
you making the money doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the money.
When it comes to you helping people, you kind of
it.
get this like spark in your eyes, and it's like you
that's
can
what
tell.
I loved about That's what I loved about training is like when I could tell that the people were bought fully in.
Yeah,
I was obsessed with them. Like, how many walls you want to go run through? Let's go do it. Like whatever you want to do, bro. I'm there.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think that's where my real because like dude, it's taken me. I needed a lot of help growing up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like it's been those teachers that stayed with me, and like my mom, after school and everything like that. Like I've been taught how to help.
Yeah.
So like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
well, we're about an hour and a half in this thing, so we'll probably end it off there. Aaron, you have anything you want to?
No, I'm good, man. I really appreciate you coming on, man. I think you're doing a lot, and I think you're going to do a lot more. And I just appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on, talking to the people, talking about mental health and, you know, what you've done and how far you've came. And I think it's amazing. Just keep doing what you're doing, brother. Thank you.
Thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I got some more people for you too.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And look, you're already like trying to help, and I love it, dude. And we'll take you up on it. Trevor Stringer, everybody, the Detail Lab. We'll put his social media links down below so you guys can go follow Trevor. If you made it this far, thank you guys for watching. Do us a favor.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Subscribing to the channel. It really helps increase, our credibility when we ask people like Trevor to come on. So
absolutely. Comment down below. Tell us what your favorite thing was about the podcast. That gets the algorithm going. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys. Thanks again, Trevor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.